Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So it's been a while since we've had any Darktide builds. The hype of the Hive Scum has kind of petered off, and hopefully they said there's supposed to be another class reveal relatively soon, so over the next like I don't know, 3 to 6 months, hopefully. But what we're going to do for now is we're going to have at least 1 or 2 guides for each class to be getting on with, because we still do love Darktide on this channel. It's just we're not putting up with Fat Shark's nonsense of basically just content drought. Anyway, we are on the Arbities, and we're going for a very Arbities-ish build. So we're going to be using the Arbities Shock Maul, and the stats go as this: damage, finesse, crowd control, and penetration. Lol, and mobility is the dump. Perk-wise, we're going with Flak and Carapace. Flak because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game, and Carapace because it's going to be one of the more annoying armor types to get through. Blessings wise, we're going with relentless strikes with plus 10 strength for 2 seconds on hits, same enemy, stacking 5 times, and hammer blow because impact is just generally pretty goddamn good on the Arbites. Weapon wise, we're going with the spearhead bolt gun. Modifiers are as such: damage, reload speed, collateral, and stability, and mobility is our dump because mobility is crap. Perk wise, we're going with unyielding and maniac. Maniac to deal with specials and rages mostly, and unyielding is to help us with monstrosities and things. Also, some of the Ogryns might class as unyielding. I don't know anymore. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I mean, whatever. Blessings wise, we're going with pinning fire for strength for every enemy you stagger, stacking 5 times. With the bolt gun, you'll be staggering everything you hit. And cavalcade for 5% crit chance for every 10% of the magazine spent during continuous fire. We're taking this ability because it aligns very well with percussion blow. Sorry, I can't speak. For plus 20% rending on range critical hits. So we're pairing that with cavalcade. Curios, we are going with 2 toughness curios with toughness, combat ability, regeneration, damage resistance gunners. So these are twinned. And then the third one can be health, or it can be stamina, or it can be toughness. I occasionally switch it out for a stamina one if I'm going for like hardcore melee, or health if you just want to be a bit more defensive. So this one has toughness, stamina regeneration, and damage resistance gunners. The reason we're going for stamina regeneration is because 1, we need stamina, but mostly we're doing it to speed up how long it takes before stamina starts regenning naturally on the character, because this is what stamina regen also does. It doesn't say it anywhere useful, but it's why we take stamina regen on at least one of the curios. So that is the equipment. Let's jump into the skills. We are taking Hammer of Judgment for 10% melee attack speed for 3 seconds on hitting 3 or more enemies with a melee attack. Into Force of Will for replenishing 10% toughness on staggering melee attack, which is why we're taking lots of impact. Up close, replenish 5% toughness on close kill, which is basically everything. Walk it off, spending 1 stamina replenishes 10% toughness over 3 seconds. Another reason why having stamina regen is good, because it pairs up with that nicely. Into toughness damage reduction, into Voltic Shock Mine. Throw a Voltic Shock Mine that activates as it lands. For 15 seconds, it will electrocute enemies in a 3-meter radius. We are going with Lone Wolf, so our blitz abilities regen very, very well. So this doesn't do huge amounts of damage like it did when it first came out, but it is incredibly good at locking down sections of the battlefield, as you can see here. Everyone starts disco dancing, especially if you're doing, I don't know, a bibbity boop like machine thing. It's just really good for helping out the team. So as you can see, not a massive amount of damage, but it does help with controlling the battlefield. So it's good for survivability and situationally useful. Right, back into the talents. Arbitrator Armor. Into Concussive. Melee weak spot hits make the enemy count as staggered. Suppression up protocols, hitting 3 or more enemies with an attack. Grants you 20% toughness damage reduction for 5 seconds. Into Breaking Descent, you and allies in coherency deal additional 10% damage versus staggered. This is just pairing up really nicely with impact, stagger, and all that sort of thing, because the Arbites is amazing at doing that. Into Plasteel Plates. Into Lone Wolf. You are no longer accompanied by your Cybermastiff, but you gain 15% toughness damage reduction, 10% attack speed, and 10% damage, and +1 increased charge on your Blitz abilities. You also replenish charges of your Blitz abilities depending on your chosen. So grenades 45, mines 90. So there is, we can regen them, which is useful. Impact boost, and then we're going to be taking Break the Line. Step forward and bash, causing high stagger to enemies in front of you, and gain 25% damage, 50% impact for 6 seconds. During your bash, you count as blocking. Then we're going to be taking Condemnation from Condemnation. Commendation from Condemnation. There we go. Replenish 20% toughness and 15% stamina for each elite, special, or monstrosity hit, up to 100% toughness and 75% stamina. Targeted Brutality, restores 0.5% ability cooldown. For each hit, increase to 1 on elite, specials, or monstrosities, 5 max cooldowns restored. And Engage. The distance of Break the Line is increased by 7.5 meters. It's just an amusing ability. Basically, you can knock down an entire pack of crushers if you really want to with it. It's on a relatively short cooldown. Paired up with combat ability regeneration on our Curios, it's on an even shorter cooldown. Again, it's another one of those nice abilities that lets you control the battlefield and also gives you a nice bit of movement, which is always useful. Being able to move fast and also break out of dodgy situations is always a plus in this game. Also, you're just an absolute tank with this thing. Anyway, that is Break the Line. Next up, we have Arbities Revelatum, 15% damage for 5 seconds after a successful dodge into Zealous Dedication for 2% crit chance on kill, 8 stacks lasting 10 seconds, and we're pairing that up with Percussion Blow for 20% rending on range critical strike. So these two pair up quite nicely together. Without them, we've basically changed the weapons we're using, really. Then into Justified Measures for +2% damage on a successful attack, 5 max stacks lasting 5 seconds. Into Street Smarts, which gives us an effective dodge and dodge duration. Into Monstrosity Hunter for 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. And then we have our key skill tree. Hold the line, staggered enemy grants 1 stack of +3% damage resistance on the next melee hit taken, stacking 5 times and lasting 8 seconds. Staggering non-human sized enemies grants 5 stacks. That'll be Ogryns and bosses, really. Target the weak. Enemies staggered by your melee attacks take 15% more damage, more melee damage, for 5 seconds. Into the Emperor's Fist, 15% melee damage and 30% impact on the first enemy hit with each attack. Into Drive Them Back, pushing grants 75% cleave for 5 seconds, and we're getting True Grit as well. Limit the maximum health damage taken of an attack to 50, and then Forceful, which is our keystone. Staggering hits and blocked attacks grant stacks of Forceful lasting 5 seconds and stacking 10 times. Each stack gives 5% impact and 2.5% damage resistance. Remove a stack on taking damage. And we're taking a tertiary ability for the keystone. Target acquired while at max stacks, and for 3 seconds afterwards, gain 10% attack speed and 50% cleave. So all in all, this is a very, very, very aggressive Arbites build. You basically control the battlefield with your shock mines, your ability to knock back everything because you have so much impact, and you will be staggering everything as well. As I always say, when I'm in the Psychonarium, this is on Auric difficulty, so all of the breakpoints and enemy modifiers for how much damage you do to them is set to Auric. So that is how this is working. Very, very simple build. Just remember to push, hit things, and if something big and nasty comes up or a big wave of something, you can just step back and lay into them with the bolt gun. The bolt gun is the thing that makes the enemy go bye-bye. So there you go. An updated Arbites build for you, and I do hope you enjoy playing with it. If you do, please do like and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. It really does help out the channel. And I shall see you all for the next video. And we shall be doing at least one build for each class. And if there is a build you really, really want to see, let us know down in the comments and I will knock it together for you. So until the next one, take it easy. I shall see you later.